So this is called Passing Strange. I was dyslexic when I was a kid. It took me when I was about 9, 10 before I learned how to read. I didn't know my alphabet. Sesame Street came along and saved me. So the only reason that I know past A, B, C, D, E, F, G is because of Grover. Hey Froggy baby, you want to know the rest of your alphabet? So if Sesame Street hadn't come along, I would not know the rest of my alphabet. And you might think, that's okay, I obviously learned to read and write and stuff like that, but then you get to maths, and you do triangle ABC is the same, and then I wouldn't know. So, this is called Passing Strange. How I broke my dyslexia was my sister had a big black book of collected Shakespeare about this size that she won as a prize for being best girl in her class or something like that. And I broke my dyslexia by starting on the first play, which happened to be The Tempest, of course, the last play, first in the thing, and I read all through Shakespeare all through my teens. And that's how, so I'm quite a Shakespearean because of that. My girlfriend at the time didn't like Shakespeare, didn't know anything about that crap or anything like that. And this is all about introducing her to Shakespeare. It's called Passing Strange. And if you know your Othello, that's how Telly Baby says that he won Desi. He said, I told her tales that were strange and passing strange. Even more strange than strange. The strange thing about this poem is that we're having a dreadful row, and yet it is a nice little love poem at the same time. Why we are having a row is that I use my Irishisms. I call her love. You want a cup of tea, love? And in Ireland, everybody is called love. You call a man love. You give the man the same courtesy as the woman. You hold the door open for a man. You say, how much is that? 10 and 6, love. You want a cup of tea, love? Yeah, love. I'll be with you in a minute, love. And nobody would believe me that in Ireland we afford the man the same courtesy as the woman, in my part of the country anyway. And then the Beatles came along, yay, the Beatles, and it's the Yellow Submarine. And we've been looking at cartoon characters all the time, and at the end the lads come on as themselves, all dressed in black, and John is looking miserable. And Paul says, what's the matter, John, love? And it's the Blue Meanies, of course. And I thought, ha! There you go. What's the matter, John Love? And I thought, yes. So, why she was so annoyed at me is that I said, you want a cup of tea, love? And I used to call her love all the time. But her previous boyfriend used to call her love and darling so that he wouldn't have to remember his mistress's name. And when she found that out, she didn't like that. And then the next minute she gets an Irishman who says love every second. So this is called Passing Strange. Rose arose, and having risen was angry. You never call me by my name, only love and darling. A rose by any other name would smell as sweet, I quoted. That's neat, she sweetly smiled. That's Shakespeare, I whispered in her ear, and kissed her sweet, sweet smile. Each reflected in the other's eye. Quote me that kiss again, she sighed. How I do love thee, I cried. Let me count the kisses, she replied. My lovely, darling Rose. Thank you! And it's those times, it's like Edith Sitwell, Still Falls the Rain, and of course the rain is all bombs, it's the Blitz and everything like that. Dylan Thomas on a refusal to mourn the death of a child in an air raid, all things like that. And people die. And they die very easily, and civilians die. You don't need to be a soldier. I was looking after this old man, and he told me that he went out on his road, and there was a crater about the size of a football pitch, and there was a little bus hanging in it like a dinky tie. And he said that when he was a boy, they went to their grannies, and they left their whippet with the neighbours next door. And when they came back, the whippet was gone, so were the neighbours, and so was the neighbour's house. And their house was the only house that was left intact. And there was a bottle of milk on the step, and the bottle of milk was just still miraculously there, while houses and people got killed and didn't come back. So there's a man up in the air pressing the button like that, and going like that, and you die down below. The chasm of death opens in front of you, and that's what sunlight on the garden is about. The things that we can hold on to, a moment of love, a simple thing like sunlight on the garden. So this is Sunlight on the Garden by Louis MacNeice. The sunlight on the garden hardens and grows cold. We cannot catch the minute within its nets of gold. When all is told, we cannot beg for pardon. Our freedom as free lances advances towards its end. The earth compels, upon it sonnets and birds descends, and soon, my friend, we shall have no time for dances. The air was good for flying, defying the church bells and every evil iron siren and what it tells. You're dying, Egypt, dying. And not expecting pardon, hardened in heart anew, but glad to have set under thunder and rain with you, and grateful too for sunlight on